So welcome to the show. We really appreciate it. Before we bring in our really fantastic guest this evening and discuss all the latest developments in the presidential race, I just want to quickly provide you an update on Hurricane Milton to anyone in my audience who may be in Florida, especially Southeast Florida. Look at right now at your phone. If you're listening to us, I'm just going to say get out of the area. But if you're watching us, I just want you to say, basically, almost the entire southeastern tip of Florida in red. I mean, it is an area to avoid. You are in the zone. And so let me know if you're watching from Florida. I would like to know what the conditions are like now, but I imagine it's a calm before the storm. It's supposed to hit on Wednesday, but let me know. And you guys should get out of there. Look at this. As I reported to you this morning, Milton has explosively intensified in the Gulf of Mexico. It continues on its path towards Florida. Milton underwent a rapid intensification from a tropical storm on Sunday morning into a Category 5 hurricane, and did it in just 24 hours. It lessened to a Category 4. That happened this morning, but in the last few hours, though, it has really increased in strength. It's now on the cusp of becoming a Category 5 once again. And what is more, the storm has doubled. I mean, it's huge. Look at this thing. It's doubled in size, and that's a development that in some ways it's worse really than a smaller Category 5 storm. That's according to the FEMA director. That, you know, the fact that it was downgraded to a 4, but when it was downgraded to a 4, it stalled, right? And so you have all that pressure and all that water, the storm surge building up behind it. And that's according to the FEMA director. Now, if you are in the path of the storm again, please evacuate now. You still have time to evacuate. Some meteorologists are calling Milton perhaps a once-in-a-century storm. And remember, even if the system remains a Cat 4 or weakens to a Category 3 hurricane, the storm surge will remain at a Category 5, at Category 5 levels. And just remember, Hurricane Katrina, which caused all that devastation, was a Category 3 when it made landfall. So early estimates suggest that Hurricane Milton will cause between $50 and $175 billion in damage, depending on its exact path across the Sunshine State. So listen, take it from someone who's from the boot, right? Which means Louisiana, because it looks like a boot. I've gone through many hurricanes, and if they tell you to get out, especially something like this, you gotta leave. I don't want to hear anyone saying, we've stayed before, we were fine here, that's whatever, but put that back up because I want people to see it, please. It is crazy. You gotta go. So please evacuate as soon as possible. I'm gonna provide you updates on Milton when we get them, but in the meantime, we want to talk about news that relates to the hurricane, but some other news as well. Specifically, I'm talking about the Vice President Kamala Harris, and she is on a media blitz now. You saw what our thumbnail said. We called it what? It's the Kamala Show. Let me see if I can do my Oprah. It's the Kamala Show.
I knew that was Oprah.
She was on The View this morning. She was on the Stern Show this afternoon, and she'll be on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert this evening. And for what it is worth, I think she's knocked it out of the park so far. I really think she did a good job. I thought she did a good job on The View. She's very comfortable with the ladies. And those ladies, look, I know all of them personally. I've been on the show. You don't want them coming for you. So we have so much to discuss. Fortunately, I have a phenomenal guest. Randy Rainbow is here. Randy Rainbow is an Emmy Award-winning comedian. Nominated, excuse me.
I'll take it.
You're still an award-winning.
To you.
In my heart.
Thank you.
Musical comedian, a New York Times best-selling author, and a viral video sensation. He also has a new book out, and I'm excited to chat about it. It's called Low-Hanging Fruit.
It's very serious
Low-Hanging Fruit, Sparkling Wines, Champagne Problems, and Pressing Issues from My Gay Agenda. How are you, sir?
Good, Don. How are you?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, you're got your glasses on. You're so.
I'm very formal. I mean, it's the Don Lemon Show. I have to be presentable.
Hey, we have a lot to talk about. You know, I want to start with, we have new polling, we've got all kinds of things, but I want to start with as I said, the the vice president's media blitz. Okay?
Which I'm very behind. I mean, I should be home watching all of this stuff. It's all taped and recorded.
Yeah, you
but
saw
I need
some
you
of
to
the View,
tell me.
right?
I saw half of the
And
View.
what did you think?
I mean, I was very happy with it. I thought she did great.
You did.
Now, I mean, I ask you because you saw everything. You listened to Stern.
I did.
And you were happy with that too.
I was actually very impressed by her, but I was very impressed because I said, Howard has the good microphones. You know, it gave her more bass.
Yeah.
You know,
Isn't
they
that
give you
true?
that shit. She's like, you know.
Yeah. Well, you're as a broadcaster, you appreciate that stuff. But did we learn anything new? Did we see a new side on Stern?
I think we did learn. We learned a lot that's new, and also learned some new stuff from The View about her takes on things. And you know, the thing that she talks about, and we're going to play it. She talks about having a Republican in her cabinet, which is very old school, right? When you have Republicans and you have a bipartisan cabinet, which leads me to believe that we're returning, if she is president, and hopefully she is, she becomes president. We're returning to sort of a traditional type of politics that's not so vitriolic, and you know they're calling people nasty people and that kind of thing.
Well, then what am I going to sing about, though? I guess I'll have to come up with something.
Oh,
it's fine.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is still there.
She's some of my greatest
Matt
hits.
Gaetz is still there.
I know.
You still got a lot to talk
know.
about. Mike Johnson is still there.
I know. I'm not short on
So,
material.
she addressed on The View
Yeah.
the lies of the president, the former president, Donald Trump, talking about FEMA and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are not helping the people down in the storm-ravaged areas. Here's the vice president on The View talking about the storm, a hurricane of lies from Donald Trump.
Let's talk about something you would do different from Donald Trump. Right now, there is a monster storm barreling towards my state of Florida, a place that's still reeling from Hurricane Helene. Trump is lying, claiming that the Biden administration is intentionally withholding aid from the areas where Republicans live, and that FEMA funds are being redirected to migrants. Ironically, that is something he did in 2019. What do you think the effect of these lies are, and why is he doing this?
Well, it's profound, and it is the height of irresponsibility and, frankly, callousness. So lives are literally at stake right now. I traveled to Georgia and to North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. In Georgia, I met a woman who, just days earlier, her husband was killed in their home by a fallen tree.
No.
Days later, I met with her and her daughter. You can imagine the pain, the shock that they are still in about what they experienced, what they witnessed. I mean, we're talking about real human beings and their lives, and them losing everything. Everything. This woman lost her husband, her child lost her father. People are losing their home with no hope of ever being able to reconstruct or return. And the idea that somebody would be playing political games for the sake of himself, but this is so consistent about Donald Trump. He puts himself before the needs of others. I fear that he really lacks empathy on a very basic level, to care about the suffering of other people and then understand the role of a leader is not to beat people down, it's to lift people up.
Absolutely.
Especially in a time of crisis.
Amen. And she deserved applause for that. Randy, what do you think? I mean, your stuff is comedy and it's often in jest. But you bring about the same points seriously that we journalists do. You just do it with humor. What did you think of that? Because why is he lying to people about what's happening with the hurricane and the response? Because then he plays on people's emotions, right?
Why? Because he's disgraceful. I mean, I find it. I mean, is anyone sincerely questioning why he does anything at this point? I mean, he's a kind of a sociopathic narcissist.
Why don't you
I'm not a professional person, but to diagnose someone. But you know, I grew up, and not to hawk my books, but I talk in my first book. My father was Donald Trump, and he was a narcissist like this, and that sort of kind of, not to paint with a broad brush, but he was that sort of New York dude. And you know, it was all self-serving nonsense. So I don't know. I'm baffled as to why people still, you know,
Support
him or listen to a word he says.
But we like to have folks here who are not experts, so to give us your perspective.
Good.
No, we don't
Perfect.
expect you to be, you know, to give some sort of wisdom about inside politics or whatever.
Good, I'm not
That's
wise.
not why we have you here. But we have you obviously to talk about your book. But I think that your views are very important, especially coming now. And we're going to play a little bit later. You know, you joke about the gay agenda, right? And we'll get you to explain.
It's not a joke.
Well, you know,
It's a joke.
Okay, but Howard Stern did talk about that, and we're going to get to that later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they spoke about.
You need to fill me in on Howard.
About gay
'cause I
rights. No,
didn't
we're
say
gonna play it.
All
You're
right,
gonna be
good.
able to hear it.
Good, good.
So it's. I think the vice president is right. When you play on people's emotion like this, there are times, and this is one of them, where you take politics out of it. You say, we're all Americans right now. I know that. I think that the best thing that if Donald Trump, and I hate to give him advice, do you know what would get people to really support him? If he said, right now, we're going to take the politics out of it because a lot of people are hurting. The government is doing the best that they can. Although I feel I can do a better job, I have to be honest.
Yeah.
But they're doing the best that they can, and we're going to try to get, and they're trying to get everybody down there taken care of. And we would do it. It's not going as fast as I would like.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
This is what baffles me most about him. If he had just said exactly word for word what you just said, that would probably win over a whole swath of people who were not. He just gets to a certain point where he can't do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, because he's
As you said,
sociopathic,
narcissist. Okay, so let's talk about, speaking of playing politics, Ron DeSantis. Do you happen to know
Oh my
who
God,
he
is he here?
Yeah, well, Ron DeSantis too. As you said, you know, what are you going to do when he's gone? Ron DeSantis will be around.
Yes.
There will be a lot of people.
From my home state, by the way. I'm from Florida.
You are?
Yes, and I will
Which
admit
part?
it proudly. South Florida.
Oh, really?
Yes.
From the Miami area?
Plantation.
So you get what's happening in the storm, right?
Yeah, it was Hurricane Andrew was my first hurricane.
What's your advice to folks? Did I give the right advice?
Well, you get the hell out. I mean, they're saying that this is going to be, and they do. You know, it's a little boy who cried wolf because they say that every time, but it sounds like this is for real.
Yeah. If I would live there, I would say, "Oh, vacation time, kids, let's go. We're taking a little road trip."
Absolutely, yeah. My mother just left. She's in Arizona. Thank God.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, speaking of playing politics, Ron DeSantis is refusing to take the call of the vice president. He's saying, look, she's never, this is him. I haven't spoken to her before. She hasn't called the entire time she's been vice president. And she explains why she hasn't spoken to him. Here's her talking about Ron DeSantis playing politics and ignoring her call on The View.
But this is going to be different than they've been before. And I know a lot of folks might think, I've been through this. I grew up here. I've seen it all. I'll be fine. This one is going to be different. And that's why I called the governor about what Florida has received in terms of impact. We have to have an agreement that at some point we all need to work together to combine resources, especially federal, state, and local resources around these kinds of disasters. And I think it's a shame that that hasn't happened, but look, it has at the local level and with, you know, other state elected. So
He'll take your call on your president.
And here's the thing you should know on that point. And when I'm president, I will continue to call him to see what he needs for help.
Maybe he won't be in office anymore then. Just saying.
More predictions.
I like when they add. I like when she says that. You know. And by the way, I'll continue to reach out.
But you have to love your fellow Floridian.
Anna? Oh, I love her
like,
so
he'll take
much.
your call when you're president.
She was in my show when I played Miami. She sent me a pair of stilettos for Pride. I mean, that's my girl.
Yeah, I hope you're seeing the love that you're getting in the comments.
I don't look at the comments, but is it good?
You guys send Randy Rainbow
Send
some
only
love.
nice things.
Because, and we love it when we've had so many, political people on. And after the election, hopefully, honestly, Randy.
Yeah, what?
I know this isn't good for you.
What?
But after the election, I want to move away from politics.
So do I.
You want to move on?
Listen, I would like to. I have other projects I
Yes.
would like to do. Yeah.
But it's everything. It's the news right now.
It's the news. But let me ask you though: do you think that even if and when he loses, is it all going to go back to normal? I mean, politics is still going to be, the craziness. Trumpism is not going to disappear.
Well, yes, and I just said you're going to have a lot of people around because he still has. Look, the party is MAGA right now,
Yeah.
right? It's not the Republican Party of
Right.
old, right? That people thought was scary before. Now they really know what scary is, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that he's still a leader of the party. He still commands respect from the people, or fear more than respect. People fear him, and they do what he says. Remember, look at the screen.
Oh, that's nice. I
No,
like
I
it.
think you missed all. There were many more rainbows, Randy. So
Really?
you guys send him some love, so you know that.
Hey,
so he knows
can
that
I
he's
talk to
welcome
them?
here.
Hi, Chad.
Go ahead.
Maybe I'll get a date. Susie. Hi, Christy. I feel like
Susie Q.
Susie Q.
Tiffany
Tiffany.
Basnor.
Oh, I love this. Is my kind of audience.
Ross
I like-
H. See, they love you.
I love it. Love you back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come on tomorrow too.
Yeah.
No, I like it.
So he still has influence in the party, and so just like they killed the bipartisan immigration bill at his behest, border bill at his
Yeah.
behest. He said, "Don't do it in an election year because it's going to ruin my
Is
chance."
she?
of
And
becoming
she
president."
keeps telling that story. And
And it's true.
is that? Do you think is she changing minds? Is she getting her point across when she tells that? 'Cause
She's
I
getting
feel
her-
people don't buy that.
She's getting her point across. Quite frankly, and this is weird, I have to tell you a story. Thank you for reminding
Oh,
me.
good. Yes.
So when she goes on the Call Her Daddy podcast, when she goes on with Luther Campbell on his program, like she gets her points across to audiences that may be sort of just, in that, I hate to call it an echo chamber,
Yeah.
but just in that particular place. When she goes on Howard Stern, she speaks to a demographic that she doesn't normally speak to and may never hear her. Remember, they said if Hillary Clinton had gone on Howard Stern before the election, she might be president today. So I think that she should go on as many venues as possible because I actually think she's really good at it. Right?
Yeah.
And I think this criticism of her about being afraid of interviews or what have you, I really believe that she's listening to her team. And her team is saying this is the winning strategy. I don't believe it's a winning strategy. I think what she's doing now is the winning strategy.
This media blitz that she's doing.
Do
this
the
week.
media blitz and talk to as many people as possible.
You think it was wrong for her to wait this long to do it?
I do.
Yeah.
do
I
think
agree
it was-
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that she's doing it again, Howard Stern to me is a game changer. I do believe that had Hillary gone on, she would have won before the election. But do you think that she changed hearts and minds?
Yeah, that's
with
what I mean.
that?
So I think she changes hearts and minds when she does that, right? Because and I will show you. Can we just put since we have it? Do we have the polling up from this morning? I'm not sure where it talks about the Republicans. I think we have that, a full screen that talks about how her influence now with Republicans. She's gaining more Republican support than before because she's out campaigning with the Liz Cheney's of the world.
Right.
Right? And so that is actually helping her. Let's see. I think I had some of the information, but maybe I don't. It was in this morning show. But actually her numbers were up amongst Republicans. So good news.
Something
All right, so, there it is. What is that? I can't see it. Can you read that?
I can't. These are not functional glasses.
I
They're fashion
know.
only. 49. She's 49 to 46.
49 to 46.
Was 47 last month.
9% of registered Republicans say they plan to vote for Harris.
I knew
That's
that
up.
too because someone just said it. in
Someone-
my ear.
I know, that was my
Cheater.
producer.
Now I know how it works.
I want her to come on camera to put her voice on, but she won't do it.
Who,
It's
your
Nikki.
producer?
It's Nikki.
Nick. Well, she's so beautiful. She should be.
I
on
know she
camera.
should be doing it. So I was getting on my city bike.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I was getting on my city bike.
Oh God, you're one of those city bike people.
Yeah, I am.
You're nuts.
You think I'm going to hit somebody?
You're going to. Something that possesses a person when they get on one of those bikes.
So, and this guy said, hey, he was talking to me and I didn't realize it because I had my headphones in and usually I do like my calls or I listen to my research on the way in on the bike. And he said, hey, he actually said, I saw you on Vlad. And then he said, I saw you on Vlad. And he goes, I love it when people like you, and he said Don Lemon, right? Everybody calls me Don Lemon. They don't just call me Don. It's weird.
I get the same thing.
Randy Rainbow, right? He said, when you go into different places, we get to learn about you. And then he said, this is him. I said, what are you seeing now? He goes, I watch you more now than when you were on CNN. He goes, because I hate traditional corporate news media.
Yeah.
And he said, I like you in streaming and I like what you're doing on social. And he says, you're going to get more attention doing this than doing corporate media. So I believe she's, she goes on the cable news show, she goes on whatever. I think, to answer your question, when she's in these spaces that are unusual for her, more people get to see her and she has an opportunity to change minds.
Well, it's a whole new it's a new dawn, a new day. I mean, don't you? I feel like people are finally waking up to the fact that traditional media is not the only outlet, and in fact, nowadays is not by any means the best way to reach people.
Let's see where we want to go with this, because let's stick with The View, shall we, Randy Rainbow?
I'm always happy to stick with The View, even though they won't have me on.
So speaking of reaching out to different people, and we talked about Republicans, this is her talking about having a Republican in her cabinet. Here it is.
Listen, I plan on having a Republican in my cabinet. You asked
I got a list.
Yes, right. You asked me what's the difference between Joe Biden and me. Well, that will be one of the differences. I'm going to have a Republican in my cabinet because I don't feel burdened by letting pride get in the way of a good idea.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Okay, so look, I think she's right on with that, and I think she's really smart to do it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Is she smart to have a Republican in her cabinet? Is she smart to go on other programs? Do you like it? Let us know, okay? So this is the polling. Voters, are now more likely to credit Vice President Kamala Harris than Donald J. Trump with representing change and caring about people like them, as Ms. Harris takes a slim lead nationally in the race for the White House. It's according to the latest New York Times Siena College poll. The finding, look at this. It is the first time that Ms. Harris has led Mr. Trump in the Times Siena poll since July, when President Joe Biden dropped out of the race and Democrats rallied behind Kamala Harris as his replacement. This is the first time. This Siena poll has been really bothering Democrats. It comes as the contest moves into the final month, and surveys from the battleground states find the race to be one of the closest in modern history. Mr. Trump and Ms. Harris were even at 47% each in mid-September in that Times Siena poll, after the two candidates met in their first and probably only presidential debate. She has since shored up her support among older voters and has begun making inroads among Republicans. That's the poll that I told you about. 9% said they plan to support her, up slightly from 5% last month. What's more, the polling suggests that Democrats may not have to win by the margins, and I don't want to go into it too much, but they may not have to win by the margins that they had to win before in the popular vote, because even though Donald Trump has gained in the polling, he's gaining in places that were his stronghold to begin with. But he's also gaining in the places in states where he's not going to win anyways, in very, very blue states. So there you go. When it comes to that.
Cut to the chase. What's going to happen? Tell me now. Do you have a strong opinion about what will happen?
It changes, but I do believe what she says. People are tired of it.
Yeah.
I think that people are tired of it. But I do know that Republicans come home. At the end, they always come home. And Donald Trump's supporters are more energized and animated and electrified more than Democrats, because he's a cult figure. He's a cult-like figure, and quite the MAGA cult.
Yeah.
Folks, they really want to continue to be able to be racist, to be able to be homophobic, to be bigoted, to be Islamophobic, and the folks who are above a certain demographic, they want the tax cuts. They want the deregulation. That's why you see people jumping up and down and screaming for him, especially rich people. They want the deregulation, and they want the money. So when people say, hey, I'm voting for Donald Trump for his policies, they may as well say, hey, I'm okay. I'm voting for him because of the racism. Because it goes along with it. I think they should say, I like the racism. Okay. I like the homophobia.
Right.
I like all of those things. I like the money. I'm just going to tell you, I'm just being a big selfish person. So what I think is going to happen, I think it's going to be very close. But I do think she's going to win.
You do?
I do think she's going to win. And
it took a long time to bring that baby home, but I got my answer.
Because I go back and forth. I do think she's going to win. And I think that women are going to carry the day.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do agree. But I have PTSD from the past, so I don't like to get comfortable.
Black men are scaring me, though.
Is that the demographic?
Yeah, they're scaring me. And look, white women usually scare me,
They scare me too.
I'm talking about in the polling.
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because they always vote in favor
Yeah.
of the Republican candidate
I don't
or
get it.
Donald Trump.
I don't get it.
Always.
Okay.
Even when there's a woman in the race. It's shocking to me, but there you go. Okay, let's go on to Howard Stern, okay? Because
I need
we
a drink. Do you have cocktails on this show?
you want some, do we
No,
have,
I'm
a
just,
beer?
I'm fine. It's all right.
Are you-
Move on.
are
I'll
you-
get something after. It's all right. I'll be fine.
Are you warm?
Yeah, I am. Do you want to
Okay.
open a window or something? Oh, that's fake.
Should we
It's
do-
fake.
No, it's
all
real.
fake.
Don't tell them. Don't
it's-
tell them.
It's all fake.
It's real. Don't listen
Hollywood,
to him.
sweetie.
Okay, so on the Howard Stern show, she talked about, Howard Stern talked about, because you know she did the big 60 Minutes interview, and it aired last night.
Yes.
Okay, but Donald Trump wasn't there. And so Howard asked her about that. Why wasn't he there? You went and you took all the questions. Here, this is what they
Oh, good.
had to say.
You're coming here. You went on The View this morning.
Yeah.
You're going to the shows. You did 60 Minutes. By the way, I thought what was so amazing about 60 Minutes is the fact that Trump turned it down.
Yeah.
I mean, it just says so much. He didn't want to be fact-checked. This is maddening. This is insanity. What do you mean you don't want to be fact-checked?
I think that, Howard, people ask me, like, what do you think is going on and what is the tension here? What's at stake? And there are many things, and I can be much more articulate than what I'm going to say. But ultimately, I do believe that this is an election that is about strength versus weakness.
Yeah.
And weakness as projected by someone who puts himself in front of the American people and does not have the strength to stand in defense of their needs, their dreams, their desires, the work that must happen to make sure that we are a secure nation, that we are nurturing and protecting our alliances around the world, that we are supporting America's military, that we are fighting to bring the cost of living down for working families, that we are building businesses, building growth.
Did you?
So look, what do you think? She makes sense. She's like a common sense person.
Yeah.
Now, if you listen to Donald Trump, he'll say, and by the way, 60 Minutes fact-checked him in the beginning. They were like,
What the
no,
heck?
oh yeah, they said, no, you lied about this, about what Leslie Stahl said. They read every single time that the campaigns reached out to each other, the campaign reached out to them and that they responded. And then he said, are you going to be fact-checked? I want to come on if I'm going to be fact-checked. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically that was the sentiment. And they said, we fact-check all of our interviews. We're fucking 60 Minutes. Of course we're fact-checking.
Right.
So he didn't want someone fact-checking. He just wants to be able to come on and say whatever he wants. And the reason he doesn't go outside of the lines in that he goes to Fox News and OAN and Newsmax and all that, because he's going to talk directly to his constituents, and they're not going to go outside of that echo chamber, so they will never hear the truth, Randy.
It's frightening. But I don't understand, like, to what we were saying earlier, why doesn't he just kind of force himself to? It would be so easy, for instance, after the
Because
assassination
he's not a
attempt.
nice person, but go on.
But it's so stupid. I mean, just for if someone were just coaching him, like, if you want to win this thing, you could have a better chance if you just, do X, Y, Z. Like when at the RNC, after he was, he had the world on a string, and he botched it with that speech. If he had just gone a different direction and been more inclusive, but he can't bring himself to do it.
You know the old Maya Angelou saying, right? You've heard it.
When someone shows you,
who they
believe
are,
them.
believe it. That's who he is.
I know, but he's such a liar in every other capacity. Lie to us about, this. Just fake it. He can't even fake it.
He can't even fake it. But also, here's the important thing. I thought it was important that Kamala Harris talked about that she supports being tough on crime, that she's going to help to lower the crime rate. And that they keep saying, oh, all of these people, they're just robbing the stores and crime is up. By the way, crime is down, right? And this is their conversation on crime. Watch this. He's the law and order candidate.
I think that's some of the most important work that anyone can do, which is to require that we have a society that does not allow, in particular, for for violence and that kind of behavior to go without consequence, serious consequence.
It's really weird too, because to me, you're the law and order candidate, and yet they try to paint you like you're some leftist who I don't know, who wants to have people running through the streets committing crimes. You were a prosecutor.
I have put a lot of people in jail. I have personally prosecuted everything from, child sexual assault to homicides. And
So she said, and I can see like some of the progressives going, wait, she's put a lot of people in jail. She's proud of that. Look, if you committed a crime and you're guilty of it, if you're actually guilty of it, I think that obviously you should be put in jail or whatever, you should suffer whatever the consequences are. But how does that sit with you as someone who's more on the liberal side or progressive side when she says that? I believe in law and order. She's kind of taking back a talking point from.
Oh, well, I like
Republican
that. I'm
side.
a law and order person.
You are?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not liberal to the. But when you say liberal, what are you implying?
What do you mean?
So liberal that that I wouldn't like to hear that she is someone who is a law and order candidate.
No, I'm not implying anything. I was just asking.
No, I'm
you
just
because
saying.
I'm-
Are there people out there who? Yeah,
People
because
who-
I like that. That's
yeah,
music
people
to my
who believe
ears.
that. Yeah, people who believe that. Look, I'm an independent, right? And I have some liberal leanings and some conservative leanings, which I think most people do.
Yeah.
So who doesn't want law and order? You know what I mean? As long
Yes.
as it's not abusive law and order, right? Where
Right.
someone is arresting you or there's a, excessive force in policing. But who doesn't? I think everyone believes in that.
Did they talk on Howard about the border and all of that conversation?
Do you really want to hear about the border?
Yes, I do,
think she
because
did
my
let's see.
question, because that's what they also come at her on.
They talked on The View about the border, if
Yeah.
you want to. Do you want to listen to
I'd like
that?
to hear
You want to hear
some border
Okay, this is
talk.
the Vice President on The View talking about the border. Here it is.
First of all, to your point, when we first came in office, hours after we were inaugurated, the first bill we offered, before infrastructure, before bringing down the cost of prescription medications, it was to fix our broken immigration system. And it never got taken up, in large part for political reasons, because solutions are at hand, and we need to fix the problem. Then, to your point, a bipartisan group of members of the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members, worked together with our support to craft the most serious and strong border security bill we've seen in years.
Yes.
Donald Trump got word of it and told them, don't put the bill up for a vote, because he didn't want a solution, because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. So then we had to do, in addition to what we've done since day one in trying to strengthen the border, we took further action in terms of executive action. We have seen illegal immigration reduced by half, the intake of fentanyl reduced by half. But ultimately, if we want a real fix to this, Congress has to act. We need, for example, in that bill, we would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why the Border Patrol supported it. I went down to the border, and let me tell you, these border agents are working around the clock. They're trying as hard as they can. They need more resources. I have personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have taken on the cartels. I've prosecuted the cartels. I understand the serious nature of this issue and the need to fix it. And solutions are at hand, but again, Donald Trump prefers to run on problems instead of fixing problems. He's not solution-oriented.
What do you think?
I like when she explains it that way, and I don't know, as a layperson, I don't know what executive actions she's talking about, but I wish you would elaborate on that more.
President Biden did an executive action, basically, just with the stroke of a pen from his desk, that put in some of the things that they wanted to put in the bipartisan bill that Jim Lankford had put together, and that they hoped that Joe Biden would have signed.
Right.
But they killed it. So they put as much as he could in an executive action.
I think
to
they
be
should
able to
lay
do
that
it.
out more specifically.
To show what they did.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the other thing that people say, and I can understand this to some extent, is she's been there for 4 years. Why didn't she do this? As a vice president, you don't have the
She can't do
power
that.
to do that.
Right.
But I wish she would come out and say that more. I guess you can't explicitly say that.
Yeah, she can.
So why doesn't
She
she?
can say
why doesn't she do
as
that?
vice president. I think she can say it. But no matter what she says, the other side's going to hit her on it. But she could say, because she's still part of the Biden-Harris administration.
Of course.
Right.
But I wanted.
But
can you-
they know. I mean, what did Mike Pence do? I'm just saying. What does any vice president do? Like, what have they done anything?
No.
They're part of their job is just to be the right-hand man
Right.
or woman to the president, and to, you know, in case something happens, he's got to go to the hospital. You know, they give control to the vice president, what have you. But vice presidents very rarely do things.
I think she needs to.
Joe Biden was good on foreign policy. He did help Barack Obama with that, but
She needs to come up with a way to say that more explicitly.
Yeah.
To say, hey, schmuck, I'm
Yeah,
the vice
I'm the
president.
vice
There's
president.
only so much.
There's only so much
You
I
know,
can
not
do. Yeah.
schmuck, but she should say it.
One more thing that I want to play here for you before we get to your book, before we move on, is we talked about her winning Republican support.
Yeah.
Right. Now, there are people who are saying this is one of the best ads that they have seen. This is an ad featuring GOP support for Vice President Kamala Harris. Let us know what you think in the comments. Here it is.
Of 100 Republicans who worked in national security for Presidents Reagan, both Bushes, and for President Trump, now endorsing Harris for president.
She came up as a prosecutor, an attorney general, into the Senate. She has the kind of character that's going to be necessary in the presidency. She has the strength. She has the values to deal with the uncertain crises.
If you care about America's leadership role in the world, a vote for Vice President Harris is the right vote to make.
Generals, secretaries of defense, secretaries of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, CIA directors and National Security Council leaders under Democratic and Republican presidents, Republican members of Congress, former Trump administration officials, and even Vice President Cheney agree. There's only one candidate fit to lead our nation, and that's Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Does Randy Rainbow approve that message?
I approved it.
Why?
Oh, it's fabulous. I mean, her campaign is crushing it with all of this. Have you ever seen a more effective campaign?
I did. I worry, though, as we said before, as we talked about earlier, that she didn't get out there enough.
Right.
Right, on a blitz. She did some things, right? But I just kept wondering why. I felt like her campaign was hiding her from us.
Yeah.
And trying to, you know, coach her and actually coach Walz too much. Because the reason we like Walz is because he's Walz, right? And the reason we like her is because she's her.
Right.
And because she is human. And as I listened to her talk about, she even talks in the Howard Stern thing about, you know, about supporting your allies and your friend. And she goes, you know, if you're from the hood, you know, people call you, if you do that, if you don't support your allies and your friend, they call you a punk. And I'm like, yeah. We need somebody who knows just how to talk to everyday people. Donald Trump doesn't know how to talk to everyday people.
No.
They believe that he does, but he doesn't. Okay, so one more thing that I want to play. For Randy Rainbow.
What?
They had a talk, they talked about the gays on Howard Stern.
The gays?
The gays, yes. Can you believe it?
Oh my God.
Howard brought up the gays, and the vice
I
president
have a friend who's gay.
talked about her support. Do you?
I know a guy.
I know a couple gay people, but here they are.
Well, here's
Telling
what
her
I
what to
worry
do.
about. You got a guy who says probably you don't really need to vote if I win. You got a guy who says, hey, we're not stopping here. You know gay rights are next.
Yeah.
You know it.
But
You know
Clarence
it.
Thomas said it.
Yep. I mean, who doesn't have, you know, here's the crazy thing to me. Who doesn't have gay people in their life? Whether it's your kid, whether it's your best friend, whether it's, I mean, the genie is out of the bottle, guy.
The genie is out of the bottle. It's funny that he used that one. The genie is out of the bottle. So talk to me about this. This is what I want to know, because it's called Randy Rainbow, Low-Hanging Fruit. That's the name of the book. And you talk about, what is it? You talk about, let me get your gay agenda question.
I talk about every day.
What is the gay agenda, or specifically, what is the gay agenda? What is your gay agenda?
You'll find nothing serious in this book. If you're looking for actual solutions, this is satire, parody. But it's, you know, I lay out my gay agenda when I become president of the United States, which includes, you know, gayer education, talking about dress codes, things of that nature, uniforms, hand sequined by Emmy and Tony Award winner Bob Mackey. I mean, these are the issues that concern me. But this was really, I mean, I knew that this would be coming out in the election, during the election cycle. And I wanted people to just have a little bit of an escape and a few lulls.
So this is the opposite of Don't Say Gay. This is the opposite of what Ron DeSantis wants.
This is Ron DeSantis' worst nightmare, is this book and my gay agenda.
Wait, someone said, did
What?
you see what Winter Storm D said?
Is it Ron DeSantis comment?
Oh, I thought he said poppers. It said poopers. So
That's on the after
That's
show.
it. That's a whole other thing. Did your mom have to leave Florida because she was worried that you were saying gay so much?
No, she's still there. She's proudly in Florida, believe it or not. I thought she meant this time. She had to leave Florida because she had to see Harvey Fierstein interview me last night. That's why she's out of the eye of the storm.
Really?
But no, she's still there, and she makes an appearance in this book. We talk about drag brunches and all that stuff. I mean, she's a big hag.
So we can't say the other word.
I can't. I said hag.
I know, but I'm just wondering. We
This-
could probably
this
say
does
the
not
other
fit
word.
in my
I don't think we're going to
petite
have
ear
any more
holes.
sound bites. You can take that
Oh,
out.
good. Thank God.
I don't. We can't say the other word because we'll get in trouble. We shouldn't. allow
Really?
people
Why?
to-
This is YouTube. We can say whatever we want.
Okay, you say
Should
it.
I get the Don Lemon Show canceled right now?
No, you're not going to get us canceled. I just don't
Oh.
want to offend anybody.
Well, then
what
I
do you
won't.
think?
No,
You
I
can
don't
say
want
it.
to. I don't want to offend people. Contrary to belief, that brings me no joy to offend.
Do you find that word offensive? Depends on who says
The F word?
Yeah.
No, I find very little offensive. I was raised in a household that we respected language, but we did not fear it, and we were very irreverent. So language doesn't bother me.
We're saying fag hag. You called your mom a
I
fag
have to
hag.
go. That was a little too much.
Don't say hag.
But she was. I mean, she told, I don't know. Was your mother like this? Did she bring you out of? Did she tell you you were gay like mine did?
No, my mom didn't tell me I was gay.
No, you didn't.
But she was
have
very
it.
supportive
She
once I came out. Yeah.
Yeah. My mother said, "Listen, this guy Frank you're seeing, I know what's going on. You're gay. All my friends are gay. Meanwhile, I'd never met a gay friend at first, but suddenly all our friends were gay. And I'm going to tell your father. I'm going to tell your grandmother. She became my gay agent, my gaygent. And she told the whole family. I had no work to do, and it softened me. This is why I have a hard time getting through life.
And you are unapologetically you, which I love.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So, but let's on a serious note, on a more serious topic. Same thing, but do you think Howard and the vice president are right that next they're going to come after gay rights?
Oh, without question. Yeah. I mean, do you question that at all?
Yeah, no, but there's already a guy, a congressman, I believe, who is saying, it's either congressman or a senator. You know how they sent Roe v. Wade back to the states, right? Which means getting rid of it.
Right.
That they should send interracial marriage back to the states as well.
Yeah.
And next it'll be, I think same-sex marriage will be sent back to the states.
It's horrifying, but nothing surprises me, unfortunately.
Do you know T.S. Madison?
Yeah.
Maddie talks about, she has a show called Fag Talk.
You said it again.
But it's P-H-A-G, it's popular something, blah, 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 blah. So listen, how much, you pack a lot in this book. You have everything from GOP politics to Craigslist hookups.
Really, we're talking about that on the Don Lemon Show?
Is Craigslist still a thing?
Listen, there is a chapter in here. I heard from a few people who wanted more sex talk in this book, and so I went there. And so how can I frame this during happy hour? I take people on sort of a guided tour of some of my greatest hits. And it ties back to politics. There is a revelation at the end that I hooked up with someone who you might be surprised to find out who they were. I will not reveal it. You have to read the book.
I'll have to read the book.
Yeah, but
it was a Craigslist hookup?
This one was yes. But it's everything. I talk about Grindr and, I don't discriminate.
I love it.
Listen, I'm single. You have yet to set me up with anybody. I've been asking for years.
But you talk to my husband a lot. Are you two having an affair?
Yes, and I wanted to say it on camera.
You are?
Yes.
You guys are always
Let's bring him out now.
Tim, do you have something to tell me?
Wouldn't that be great TV?
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm not. But you're always busy. I think the first time I hung out with Tim, it was my birthday party, and he didn't come, bitch. Oh, can I say? Sorry, you can't say that on YouTube.
You can't say that.
He did text me. He said, "I hope you sing." I said, I was not invited to sing, but wouldn't it be funny if I came and set up and did a sound check?
We would have loved that. Do you have a song?
I don't. I will not.
For...
Don't make me sing. I won't do it. But I thought it was cute that he requested it.
Your glasses are so traditional now. Where are your
These?
Yeah, where are your cool glasses?
I'm sorry, I'm disappointing you. They're at home. They're costumes.
All right, so you're talking about these things. You're talking about like Craigslist and all of that. I was having a very interesting conversation with my friend who actually is
Do you
from
remember
Florida.
Craigslist? I mean, for people who don't know, in the old day, I mean, this was like over a decade ago.
I won an Emmy on doing a story for Craigslist, a local Emmy for doing a story on Craigslist.
He was just waiting for a reason to.
No, I
drop
wasn't.
that.
No, doing a story on Craigslist in Chicago. I know. What was it? Zach Newmark. What was his name?
Oh, I don't know.
He's the creator of Craigslist.
Yeah.
Craig Newmark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but there was like, you know, a place for meeting people, like romantic connections. You could pick up a used bookcase and a confused closet case in the same afternoon. It's fabulously convenient.
I think it was 24 hours on Craigslist where I didn't have to leave my apartment. So I ordered food. I took singing guitar lessons. People came over to the house. I rented a dog for the day. I wanted a dog, but dogs weren't allowed in my building. They couldn't live there. They could visit. So the dog, I got that on Craigslist. But I did not hook up with a person on Craigslist, but I'm sure I should have.
If you were a real journalist,
I would have hooked up. I would have gone to
You would have gone all the way.
But I hear, so the conversation that I was having with my friend who lives in Atlanta, and is from Florida, by the way, near Sanford, Florida. And he is single now. And he says he believes that people got to the end of the internet during COVID. And
That's
so
true.
on these sites, similar to Craigslist, you see everything. And he says he goes, Don, there's very little distinction between straight and gay now. People, you know, there are a lot of folks out there with wives or husbands, and they're hooking up on the side, and they're, you know, they don't identify as gay. They just are, what is it, pansexual or
there's a lot of that going
everysexual?
on. I'm trying to decide what I feel about it. I mean, I think it's great. I'm all for inclusivity. But I think I'm a little traditional in that I like lanes. It confuses me. I don't know who's who or what's what or what are we doing?
Why do you think what keeps people from coming out, and also why are people in the closet? Is it because we have such a puritanical sort of idea
Nowadays,
of what?
I can't imagine anything but
yeah.
family.
You think so?
I don't know. I feel like it's maybe I'm a little naive, but I feel like it's so accepted now.
What is your favorite anecdote in the book?
This book?
Yeah.
Well, I do like the story at the end of it. The chapter's called 20,000 Leagues Under the D. I do like that one. But there's also funny stuff. Like it's a very gay book. There's a chapter actually written from the perspective of the A dropped by Barbra Streisand. And she's telling her story. So there's like silly stuff in it too.
Yeah.
She turns to the bottle and goes on Mike Wallace. Does a 60 Minutes interview.
Seriously?
Yeah, and listen to the audiobook because I act the whole thing out, so it's very theatrical.
I'm going to get the audiobook. I have this book, but I'm going to get the audiobook.
You must do the audio for this one.
It's the same thing for my book. I think you have to get the audio. Yeah, because I talk about being in church, and I sort of act it out like, you know, the piano's going, don't, and the preacher's like, and you better praise the Lord. Bum, bum, bum. You know what I mean?
I think when you have a person like you who writes a book, I think the audio is...
And you as well.
And me as well. And we produced it. We did add sound effects and musical interludes and things like that, so it's fun.
But even in something like this, you say it's all satire, there are lessons to be learned.
There's lessons. I do get real about a couple of things.
Go
you
on.
know, I won't reveal everything, but I talk about, you know, childhood stuff and I find with the books, I found that a very good opportunity to kind of come out as a real person, because a lot of people know me from the videos, and that's a very two-dimensional version of myself. It's a heightened reality scripted version. So when they said you can write books, I found myself getting very, do you find this too when you write books? Yeah. I wanted to, I overshared a little bit to the point that my editor was like, really? You want to do that? And I'm like, is that bad? But this is the place, I feel. This is the forum.
And did you pull back or did you leave it?
There's still some things that I probably held back on, but there's stuff that I'm surprised I would share. Stuff, you know, personal things, yeah, you know, family stuff.
You can say some of it, you're not going to give it away. Like, give us an idea of something that you thought.
I don't know.
Something that you were like, I can't believe I'm sharing this.
I reveal and I won't tell you what it is. You have to read the book. But my first and only experience with plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery. What are you thinking now? Don't think about it. Don't say it in the comments, but I reveal that was something I thought I haven't told some of my closest friends.
Really?
It's nothing you'd guess, and it's nothing major.
Oh, why
You got to read the
that?
book.
Why is that?
This is all fake.
Someone, Jamie June says, I knew Don is gay. He is such a queen. He was laughing.
Did someone just figure out that you're a queen?
I know, like, what,
Where
really?
have you been? It's the gayest man in show business.
Were you nervous about any of this? About being so
open? No.
Because I was nervous when I came out.
Yes.
I came out in a book and I was like, oh my God.
Well,
Everybody's gonna know.
I mean, you had it was on another level when the way you did it when you did it.
Yeah, but
So-
yeah, 2011, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was scared shitless.
Well, I never experienced anything like that, and my hat is constantly off to you.
Yeah.
But afraid, no. When I do my shows, again, to the same kind of point, when I do my live shows, people are kind enough to come up to me, and I'm sure they say the same to you. Thank you. You know, when they find a like-minded person who it comforts them through their art or whatever, they say thank you. Thank you for getting me through the Trump years. Thank you for getting me through the pandemic. And they would share personal stories with me about how I helped them, you know, through cancer treatments or breakups. And it kind of emboldened me to come out and be as generous of, you know, myself and share myself. I'm not going to do any of it here on the Don Lemon Show, but you can read it in the book.
The Trump years and COVID, right?
Yeah.
Was that the height of, or was that sort of the turning point for you, or?
It was when Don Lemon said, remember you called me out during COVID.
What did I do?
I you know what it was? I don't know, but I think you referred to me like as what's his name? And it was the same day they shouted me out on Price is Right, and Don Lemon then, I think you referred to a tweet, and then I was like, I know I made it. But that was during COVID.
Really?
Yeah, so I didn't realize until we got out of COVID that really kind of quadrupled my audience.
Did you become like internet famous? When did people are like, oh my God, Randy Rainbow?
It started way back when in 2010 when I was dating Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
That was my first viral video. We've since broken up. I don't want to talk about it. But that was sort of the genesis of this shtick of inserting myself into the news.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 2016, that was the next level. And then
Right.
the pandemic exploded it.
It exploded.
Yeah, so whenever there's a tragedy, it's very good for my career.
Was it therapeutic for you because what you were doing for people was therapeutic?
Massively.
How so?
Massively cathartic because, and it still is, because I'm a very anxiety-ridden person. So if I did not have this creative outlet, every time something happens, to go create and play dress up and sing and perform, I would just be drunk in a corner. So the whole thing has been very cathartic for me.
Someone said, Randy, casual observer said, Randy, did Donald Jessica Trump ever insult you? Jessica.
No, damn it. I could use the publicity, but he won't even acknowledge me.
Really?
No.
You would like him to insult you?
No, well, I say that I would, but not really.
Not really.
But no, I've never, I don't know that I'm on his radar. Do you think that he would have any interest in me?
I'm sure they know about you. They know about
Yeah.
everything.
Really?
They know about everyone who criticizes him, whether
Yeah.
it's like a serious journalist or a comedian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never heard, Melania hasn't called.
Yeah. Are you happy?
In life?
Yeah. You should be happy
This
with
is one of them Don Lemon interviews
Are you
I heard
happy?
about. I am very happy. I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing this book press. I don't have to tell you that drains your soul
Yeah.
sometimes. But it's champagne problems. I mean, I feel so lucky that I get to do what I do and schlep around, and there are people in different cities across the country like waiting to greet me when I do a concert or something. It's dream come true shit. Can you say
Yeah,
dream?
of course.
No.
We said fag. You can say shit.
He said it again.
So,
I'm offended.
So it's kind of like, the N word. It's not, hard R. This is soft R. This is A or AH.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, we're allowed to say.
We're allowed to say it. So all of those, you're
Are we still on YouTube? or
Yes,
is it
you're
okay?
traveling around a lot.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to be meeting a lot of people, yet you're still single. Are you looking for a man in finance, trust funds, 6'5",
Yes.
blue eyes?
Yeah. I probably don't. It's my fault. I don't put myself out enough, but I am chronically single. Isn't it awful? You don't have anybody for me? I find this hard to believe.
We'll see. We'll see.
Can we really?
Yeah,
because because people say that on camera. Sarah Silverman was supposed to hook me up, and then they get off camera. I never hear about.
We'll have to go through. I'll go through my Rolodex.
I really want you to.
Rolodex. Who has
Your
a Rolodex
Rolodex
these days? That's how old I am.
Well, I got the reference. So
You're the
I'm right
best.
behind you.
Thank you. Randy came to my Pride party. Came all the way out to Long Island.
Of
Drove
any
2.5
time.
hours. Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you for
you.
coming on the show. I love you too. You're the best.
Thank you.
So make sure you look. Randy Rainbow's Low Hanging Fruit, Sparkling Wines, WHINES, like wah. Champagne Problems and Pressing Issues from My Gay Agenda. You gotta love the cover, and you gotta love Randy Rainbow. You don't want to sing us off, do you?
I absolutely don't.
Tell
no.
people to hit the thumbs up. It affects the
Would
algorithm.
you hit the thumbs up and subscribe
and
and like and if you got a boyfriend for me, hit me up in the comments.
Where do we find you, Randy Rainbow?
You can find me everywhere, Randy Rainbow, across all social media platforms.
Are you on YouTube?
Yes, I'm on
Yeah,
YouTube.
and so
Absolutely.
what's your
It's
channel?
Oh, Randy Rainbow Official.
Yeah, that's it.
On YouTube, as well as Randy Rainbow Official on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I can't.
TikTok is like.
There's a chapter on that.
TikTok is crazy for me.
It's insane.
Can I
It's
sh-
doing very well for me, and I'm happy that it's there. But it's like, you know,
Like,
I'm too old for this.
Is this
shit.
crazy for TikTok? Look at that.
8 million?
8.8 million.
What did you do in that video?
I just did something. My social media people called me one day and said, I was in the backyard, like planting flowers or something, Tim and I. And they said, you got to go out and you got to respond to this thing for Donald Trump. He just said, like, people don't have to vote anymore. And I just walked out to my driveway because the best light was there. And I said, Donald Trump is saying the quiet part out loud. Listen. That's all I said.
That's all you said? It got
8.8 million. And then I had to do another one that got a really high one where I said, oh, look, you think the villages are red, whatever, but look at all these people on golf carts who look for Kamala Harris. Crazy. Just like little things like that. And more people have seen me, I think, on there than ever saw me on CNN.
There's no rhyme or reason.
No rhyme
This
or reason.
algorithm is crazy.
Nuts.
I'm sick of it.
Randy Rainbow, Low Hanging Fruit. Thank you, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We have a Hot Topics show.
Really? Am I coming back for that?
Hot Topics is, I mean, we would love that to be all gossip. You know, and you know who I channel for Hot Topics. Who was the Hot
Wendy?
Topics lady? Wendy.
Love my Wendy.
And I would love after the election to get as close to Wendy for Hot Topics as possible.
Is that the goal? Is that what we're
It's a goal.
going for?
I mean, yeah, not to be completely gossipy, but can you imagine Wendy right now with this whole Diddy thing?
Oh my
She's the
God.
first one to say it.
Yeah, well, she spoke out, right?
She spoke out.
I didn't see what
she said. It's about time that that he faced some consequences, and I'm glad. I'm paraphrasing here that the victims are getting some sort of justice now.
Oh, good. I'm glad she said that.
Thank you. And on that note, we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Hot Topics. Thanks to Randy Rainbow. Go buy the book. Go buy the book. Go buy the book. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm. And also, we'd love for you to become a subscriber. So hit that button, too. We're live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Eastern, so there's plenty of content for you to check out.